smoke is quieting down. Seems like we've got to a lot of the smoke. Dub, you got smoke?
Ah! Marc is taking over the JBP. God. Oh, man. Listen. All right, so on a Patreon episode titled The Clevelander, Imani had a take on Marc Lamont Hill that made my jaw drop. Now, what's wild is I've said this exact take in spaces before, and now to hear Imani say it on the pod, that was crazy. It's almost like folks are finally starting to connect the dots. But let me break this down and make it make sense for y'all, right? Now, before we get to this clip, here's the setup. Imani basically told Marc, you're either going to elevate everybody on this pod, or you're going to be the reason it all falls apart. That's bold, son. Come on, that's crazy. Especially considering the current tension simmering on the JBP. Imani didn't hold back, and honestly, that might be the most accurate forecast of where things are headed. Look at the files.
There's like no middle ground with what you're going to do up here. You're either going to make everyone better, or there's going to be an instance where you're going to ruin the dynamic.
Like a mutiny?
No, not a mutiny, but it's going to be a thing where I don't think there's a middle ground as far as the dynamic of the pod looking the same or like being manufactured the same with you involved. It's either going to be everyone get better, or certain people are not going to mesh anymore, and it's going to be like a negative effect.
And that might be true. I don't think that could happen though. I think I get your analysis. I think that because everybody has been here so much longer and there's already a rhythm, my goal at the beginning, not so much now, but at the beginning was to not disrupt the rhythm at all. So that, you know what I mean? And then just kind of getting where I fit.
And I don't want to make it a pod talk. Cause
I know.
Yeah, you would disrupting some of that shit though now, right?
Yeah, a little bit. because now people understand I'm not trying to do anything other than just add my little pieces. So you can't come in the beginning like, all right, let me tell you all this long ass story. But I don't mind doing that.
Oh, well, let me say the perception of what it's going to be is you're either going to excel people or minimize people.
Yeah,
and I don't believe that that's true. But I'm just saying that
I fucking hate Joe because some of this shit will fly if he just wouldn't start laughing.
This is like that tweet he sent out there. Oh, yeah, my brother.
That one, yeah. That one was real.
No, my brother killed that shit. I mean, I just nailed on the opposing side. Shut up. Shut up. That nigga.
Yeah, when my guy said that, I was like, okay, I can see maybe what you mean in a certain degree.
So Marc has been subtly breaking down Ish psychologically, right? The dynamics have shifted crazy, and it's obvious to anyone watching closely. Remember when Melissa used to run to Ish for his thoughts or guidance? You know, Ish, let me know what you think, right? Not anymore. Her new go-to is Marc. And it's just not Mel. The audience is shifting too. Marc's takes are polished, articulate, and always delivered with that, that academic seasoning. He's pulling attention and energy, away from the rest of the room. It's sad to say, but it is what it is. So here's where it gets dicey. Either Ish levels up to match that energy or he spirals. Those are the only two outcomes. And Marc, he's playing it cool. When Imani asked him directly if he disrupt the chemistry on the show, Marc gave a soft no. Said, everyone's been on there longer than him, so he's not really in a position to cause a shakeup, right? But right after that, he slipped in a comment to Joe about how he is down to disrupt a few things. He does this all the time, and if you blink, you'll miss it. That's like a real debate skill, right? That's media training. Marc will say the safe, politically correct answer, then quickly pivot to the more controversial side just enough to, make him sound real and relatable. It's subtle, it's strategic, and it's manipulative, but only if you're really watching, all right? So while Marc is smiling and cracking jokes, what he's really doing is calculating. This man came to the pod with a plan. He knew from the jump what it would take to win the room over. And guess what? It's working. But like I always say, when you try to be the smartest person in the room, just remember, the audience is watching everything. They caught the lies. We clocked the contradictions. right? We see you, Mark, right? Now, this next part, this is where it gets a little crazy, right? It's from one of the spaces with Mark Lamont Hill. I know for a fact Joe was in the Anons listening because the very next episode on the pod, Joe remixed my take word for word. Look at the files. Actually, Mark, he did, and he took Ish out, got really close to Ish, took Ish out to all the basketball games, dismantled
Nah,
him,
don't do that. He
and
ain't take Ish out, bro. They.
He took him to a Philly game.
he took him to the
Y'all wildin'
basketball
now.
games, bro. Yes, he
He
did.
did.
That's a fact. I'm not lying.
He
He
took
No,
him
wasn't
out
that
capping.
like a
that
date.
happened. That happened.
Yeah, on the day, team
Understand, man. You
building.
went
He
out
was
with a dude
team
one time
building.
too,
Listen,
and it got weird.
Mark is a chess player, man. He was team building the right way when he came in, man. He
Hey, yo,
took Ish
Aki.
out.
Ike, what
He
up,
figured
Ike?
him out.
What up,
You know what
Ike?
I'm saying? He seen his talking points. Yeah, I mean, he understood that he could break him down. This is easy. And then he broke Ish down. Now you see it full in effect. Like, you know what I mean?
It's like when you in prison and you go at the biggest dude in the yard. Like that's what Mark did.
Exactly.
Y'all
Smart man.
niggas, why these niggas talk like this in jail?
It kind
That's
of
what he
is.
did, though. It is, though.
The trigger is to not accept the Sixer tickets from Mark.
Oh, that's
the
the
trick.
That was the downfall, beginning to the end, right there.
It didn't
That was
see
the
that one
lineup.
coming. That was the lineup. That's what niggas don't see the lineup
He's a
coming.
fast little hussy.
Yeah, he's a fast little thing.
That was 3-card Monty, man.
Nigga was eating concession stand shit. Nah, Duke. Nah.
Nah, don't. Yeah, chill out, man. Y'all gotta stop.
Nah.
Oh my God, you guys are great.
Stop it.
This is your last one though. Even if you do win, this is your last one for a little bit. They sick of you too.
Yeah, you know what? I hope I mean,
We don't pay.
Alright, so I'll let y'all hear the clip of me on Spaces. And then y'all heard Joe remix that joint, right? That was crazy. Alright, it's all good though. We got the files, right? Now, let's break it down. Mark really broke down Ish. He took Ish to the basketball game, chopped it up with him, played some one-on-one, got deep into his personal life, and in return, Ish gave it up. He gave up everything. Gave up the game about the pod, inside info, toured him around New Jersey. That's like priceless data right there. That's recon work, right? Mark made it seem like brotherly bonding. But in reality, he dismantled Ish before Ish even knew the game had started. Now listen, I believe Joe snatched my take. You know, mine was recorded, documented, and stamped, right? But hey, maybe we were just on the same wavelength, right? Maybe. That's why I always come back with the files, though. But here's some real questions. Do you think, did y'all think Mark, did he outmaneuver Ish out the job, like out of a job? Do y'all think that? Or will Ish even be on a podcast next summer? You think Ish is going to stick around for all of this, or he going to be out of there? He going to fade out or something? And what does Joe really think about Mark's role? Does he love it, or it's just like, is he in Pandora's box? Like, you know, Joe could be just in a frenzy right now, right? I don't know. The pod's been good. There's been a lot of spicy stuff going on, a lot of HR moments. You know what I mean? It's a little funny stuff going on. But yo, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll be back with the files.
My guy Dub too. That's my man though.
Gang, gang.
That's my man, Big Dub.